Welcome to the Become the Best You podcast, where we discuss everything personal development and listen to real life relatable stories from individuals that are on a mission to become their best self. I want to start with, obviously you're a yoga teacher, you're very into your spirituality, and a couple of the things that that I've seen and what you've done, I really want to dive into because I think it's really important, especially one, I've got you on because I love some of the stuff that you do and I want to know a bit more of it. So selfishly, I wanted to talk about it. But what got you into the whole yoga, meditation and just spirituality as a whole?
It's funny when you say that you're a yoga teacher because that's just one way that I wouldn't describe myself.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
It's part of what I do.
Yeah.
And when I meet people that are not like involved in this kind of world, like if I meet someone out and they say, what do? I do say I'm a yoga teacher just to kind of make more sense to them. But I feel like the truth is yoga's a very small part of what I do and I only teach yin. So yin's like a very slow, floor-based yoga and it's almost like a meditation, the whole thing. And whilst I'm teaching that yoga, I talk a lot about, this is going to sound crazy, but I channel something. And I don't even know what I'm going to say, but I allow myself to drop into a space where I'm in such surrender that things are just coming through and I'm just sharing all of this stuff. So the yoga is very, very raw and very deep. It allows people cry. It's more than just physical. No one comes there for the physical benefits of the yoga.
Of course, that place where that comes from, what is that and what do you think that is? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. Some of my best work, whether I'm writing, whether I'm making, like when I script, say, a piece of content, right, and I record it, they've done well, but I don't connect with them sometimes. But there's sometimes after I'm running, when I just make one, it's not scripted, it's just coming from, which I would say more from wisdom rather than knowledge. It feels different to me, it also engages different with other people. Where is that place that you feel like that comes from?
For me, that place that can only happen when I enter slowness. So when I really allow myself to slow down, this is the whole Shanticinta, which is my baby, is what I've come to now realise is really about slowing down. And when I allow myself to slow down enough, which is when I'm teaching yoga, when I'm in circles, so I facilitate women's circles, when I'm in nature, I allow myself to slow down enough to land back in the presence that this is going to sound crazy, but I feel closest to God then.
Yeah, I relate to that.
That's when I feel most alive, and that's when society is kind of an outside noise and there's this deep connection between I don't know if I should use the word God because some people might not resonate with that, but source or life force or something beyond this, something beyond the daily life that we live. It's hard to put it into words because you couldn't put that into words. It's a feeling.
Yeah, it's a feeling that you connect to, right?
If you felt, and I think some people might get, like some people go to church and they have this real aliveness when they go to church and they feel this connection to God or the religion that they follow. They feel this connection to that path. Some people get it in meditation. I get it a lot in meditation.
Same.
I get it a lot in meditation. And I'm now, I never used to be able, when I first started teaching yoga or facilitating women's circles, I never could do this. I was lots of paperwork, like we were just saying. I had lots of paperwork and it was all very, very from a scripted place in my head. But now, over the years, I can just have total trust and drop into something and it's not about me anymore. It's not about, I'm a vessel. That's the way I kind of look at it. Like, this is not about, for the yoga, for example, it's not about if I'm a good yoga teacher. It's more, I will surrender enough to be a vessel so that people in my class can hear what they need to hear from something greater
something
myself.
That comes through you. That's not actually through you. So it's not actually Star delivering the message. It's
it's going to sound so crazy.
It does sound so crazy, but I understand exactly I know exactly what you mean. Are you religious? No.
I wouldn't say I'm religious. No, there's not a certain religion that I follow, but I deeply believe in something beyond the physical.
Yeah. Well, I believe in God. I pray every morning, I pray every evening, and I believe that there is something with me, but I'm not religious.
What's God to you?
God to me is, I don't know if it's a man in the sky, but for me it's a feeling, it's a presence, it's something that is with me. And I don't know where it come from. Like, I'd never been religious. I always thought about religion or anything like that as a bit crazy out there. But then as going through my own journey, I just felt like there was a connection with me, and I never know what it was. And I pray every morning, I pray every evening, but it's to something, but there's not a specific someone. Does that make sense? And that makes sense to me when I'm doing it. I feel something with me.
When do you feel closest?
I would
God?
say I feel closest when I'm grateful, when I'm present, when I'm meditating, when I'm being still. Still. Even when I just done that 100-mile, like, a lot of it is, pushing. A lot of it is, what's the word? Using your mind as such. But then when there was a moment when I was about 120 kilometers in or 30 kilometers in, I was in a pitch black forest. I just put my hand on a tree. I was silent. I could hear nothing. But it's when I felt at peace. I felt at home. I felt like, I mean, the body's in so much pain, but I feel something. Does it make sense?
It makes total sense.
Yeah, and I can reach that through meditation, but I can also reach that through running.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they are doing running, that is the place that they're trying to get to without realizing.
Yeah.
Like, when they're pushing themselves, they get to a point where the body surrenders, the mind gives in, and they're touched with flow, and they're out of their head, and they're not focusing on the physical. It
makes so much sense. There's only a few spaces, I think I just mentioned them, where I really get that feeling, where I feel close to God is one way to describe it, and also just truly alive. You know, like, you feel like this connection to all, something beyond the physical, and that's when I'm in women's circles, because the circles that I teach or that I hold space for are very slow, so we almost do nothing. So we have a whole day, and this is another thing, like, as a space holder, you might, when I first started out, there's this pressure that I have to give, I have to put on something amazing, I have to, show these women how amazing my circles are and how much you're going to get from them. But the world is so loud and so overstimulating and so overwhelming and so fast that all we really want is to do nothing. But we feel guilty when we give ourselves rest.
Yeah, I believe it. That's me.
Yeah, but you need it, Jack.
Yeah,
in life we have the yin and we have the yang. We have the night, we have the day. We have the feminine, we have the masculine. We have the moon, we have the sun. We have balance in everything. But society leads a very yang life, a very masculine life. It's very boom, 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 boom. And we think to be successful, we have to keep up with this. But our true nature is to find the balance in both and have just how nature does, total trust in it.
To be fair, that's one of the things that I learned from the recent coach that I was with, and that's why I hired him, because I got to the end of last year, my business was better than it's ever been, sort of like monetary terms. I've achieved loads of goals. External success was all good, but deep down inside of me, there was something missing. You know what I mean? And that's when I realized, right, okay, I know it's not about what's going on out here. And this is what he's teaching me. He's like, Jack, you're an easy, like, you do. We know that you do. And he just describes the difference between doing and being.
Yeah.
He's like, we know that you're going to show up and do the work, but when are you ever just being? Like, when are you giving yourself moments of grace, rest, when are you doing this? That's when I got deeper into my meditation. Now I'll do, 20 minutes a day, or half an hour and half an hour. But the more, it's such a fine line between being and doing with me. Like, I love being still, and there's a few meditation moments that I've done. January, I remember I was sitting there. It was only I give myself 15 minutes. That's all I had, because I had to go somewhere. I was like, oh no, don't worry about it. I was like, no, sit here and do it. And I sat there. I'm not gonna lie, I closed my eyes and I felt grateful for everything in my life, even down to the smallest of little things. And I almost had this joy, this excitement, these like emotions that was just flowing through me, and it felt better than anything external I'd ever accomplished. And all I done was close my eyes and look in. But I find it hard to connect to that moment all of the time. Not that I'm always seeking just that moment. Does that make sense? But it gets a fine line with me between I'm being, but then also my mind's like, we've got to do.
But I also don't think, like when you were talking, I was laughing to myself, because even it's like, I've got to do the 15-minute meditation. I've got to do the 20-minute meditation.
Times on it.
It's still like a structured,
of course,
a structured pause.
Yeah, 100%.
And I get that to an extent, but like, even waking up in the morning and just so at the minute I've been going to the forest. I'm like so in love with the forest at the moment. And in the morning I go there. I try and not take my phone. Sometimes I do. And I will sit on this tree and I will sit there until I feel ready to leave. So I don't know what the time, I don't know how long I've been there. And I know sometimes you don't have time to do that. But the truth is, when you feel like that you're really pushing against time, that is probably when you need to meditate the most, because you're going into that overwhelmed, burnt out
And I
heart.
have got a very addictive, what's the word, like I got something with time. I'm very structured, I'm very organized by the minute.
Why do you think you're like that?
Do you know what? It's funny you say that, because even my mum, I was speaking to my mum the other day, and I've never known where it's come from, but she said, Jack, like even with like meals and stuff, she's like, Jack, when you was younger, you would know, like, if it's say 10 o'clock and your meal's not there, you would know about it, and you would be stroppy, you'd be grumpy, you'd be miserable. She's like, after school, if we weren't at a certain place at a certain time and you've not got, she said, your egg mayonnaise sandwich and the donut, you was what's the word, you was angry, that you was upset.
You know,
so that explains one thing. And then listen, I'm not I don't label myself with it, but I spoke to the doctor last year and I got on them. They said that it's highly likely OCD that I've got. And they said straight away, they said, like, he said, I want you to go on medication straight away. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll prefer to do therapy first to see if I've got it. And I've done like 5 or 6 sessions. I can't remember the therapy, what it was called. But she basically said, look, you have got it, and you've also got like a mind that runs sort of 30% and a lot of addictive tendencies.
I was about to say that. You took the words out my mouth. I was about to say, isn't it fascinating that you're talking about time, and then you spoke about the OCD, then it comes to the addiction.
Yeah. And
then it even goes, and I don't know how you feel about me saying this, but then it translates that you've transformed it into a positive, but like the 100-mile run.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's incredible. But like, do you think that all is kind of from the same root?
Yeah, 100%. It all ties into the same, but it all ties into the same thing. But when I initially started to get into it, it was from a bad place. And what I mean by that is when I stopped doing drink and drugs, I channeled that energy of, because that was I'm not enough, punishing myself, drinking, doing drugs. Instead of healing the problem, I found something else, and when I was running, I used to use that as my outlet as punishment. Like I used to, in my head, used to think this run needs to be hard, so I'm punishing myself. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Now I don't come from that same place of punishment. I do it because, one, I love to challenge myself, but two, I do feel, because when I finished that 100 miles, I was like, why would I ever do that again? And then as soon as I woke up the next day, I was like, that's when I'm at my happiness. That's when I'm at my best.
I was about to say, like, what brings you, sorry, I'm asking you questions now, but what brings you joy in life? Because everything you do has such an action.
Yeah.
And a challenge. But like, what lets you just surrender to joy without time being a thing almost?
Surrender to joy. Honestly, meditation, when I'm meditating, I feel great. Writing, I've just realised, is a big outlet for me. When I it's funny because I've just written a blog for this 100-mile that I've done, but as I'm writing it and living my experience, I felt in flow. I felt like I'm enjoying it. Like I woke up this morning, couldn't wait to do it, stayed up last night to do it. So that's obviously something that I love to do. And this is what the coach taught me too, is like, what do you love to do that doesn't feel like work? When me and Morgan are going away with the community and we're filming, that's in flow for me. So like these things, they're action, but they're not physically demanding. Writing, meditation, filming.
The writing's really beautiful. In the circles that I do and in the retreats, I always gift everyone, well, more in the retreats I gift them a book, but a really beautiful notebook. And we have so many spaces where there's just music playing, there's just incense burning, a candle lit. And it's not like you have to journal now, but there are books there if they want to journal, and people will pick up their pen and paper and they will just write whatever they need to write. There's no prompt, there's no like structure to it. You just, wherever your heart takes you, just let it express through pen and paper. And people write poems. Like, it is stunning what people, like, how they express themselves when they can put pen to paper. It's like, and for me, this is going to make you laugh, I actually went to the forest last week and I took my notebook and I wrote a poem as well. But when do you ever feel that creative? But I feel like it's that really slowing down for me and then taking pen to paper, I can really express quite beautifully.
There's definitely something in when, well, I know slowing down is a massive thing, right? Because obviously that enables you to then connect with yourself, but also direct your way of thinking, how you want it to be. When it comes to the being and the doing side of things, do sometimes you feel like you could be being too much and not doing?
Well, that's
I get-
perspective.
Yeah.
That's perspective.
Yeah.
And from your perspective, probably, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And from
do you feel like that or no?
No, because shall I tell you what, Jack?
And why I asked the question is because obviously we are in a society where a lot of it is doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, and you know what? I'm glad you asked. And there's part of me that says, oh, yes, I could be doing a lot more. But then there's a part of me that goes, but 1 minute, Star. Let go of the outside noise. Let go of the pressure of society and who you think you need to be.
Yeah, for sure.
And talk to yourself. Are you happy? How do you want to spend this life? And then the answers are clear for me.
Yeah.
Like I want to try and avoid as much as I can in this lifetime losing myself to the pressure of society, and I want to try and stay as true to myself as possible. When I come in here, I spoke about goals. My goals, yeah, I have some goals that are more doing, and they have destinations. I have a few of them, but as I change, they are constantly changing. And just like how you said, you get to a goal, then it's like, what's next?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we don't, when we get to these doing goals, there's always a what's next, because we've changed, life changes. It's ever flowing. But for me, it's more about, like, my goal is a way of being and a way of living, and that's, I just want to feel as alive as much as I possibly can. And for me to feel alive and to feel close to God or close to the presence or truly myself, I have to slow down to taste that. When I'm so caught up in the busyness of, I've got to come to your podcast and I've got to meet someone after, then I've got to sort out some things for my retreat. I'm doing, and I'm not tasting the beauty of life. But when I slow down, like today, for example, I've had a really slow morning. I went for a beautiful walk in the forest, really beautiful. And then I got on the train, and you could sit on the train and you could be so oblivious to what's happening around you. But I sat on this train, I felt like I could cry because of the beauty of the train. And I know some people may not understand this, but because I've allowed myself this slow morning, I'm now walking around in a present body, and I'm now truly seeing things, and I'm seeing the beauty that's in front of me. So I sat on the train, and I moved 4 times as well to let people sit down because I was so aware of what was happening around me. So there was a mum with her 2 sons. There was lots of children because it's half term. And then there was another mum with her 2 kids that were really cute, eating cookies, a little bit overweight and really cute. And I was like, oh. And then there was an old lady that got on that I moved for her so she could sit down. There was another family that had a dog. There was a man with a big guitar. There was a couple. And people were interacting with each other as well. And it was making me it was making me feel such joy to see humanity connecting with each other. And I just stood up and I just looked around, and I guess that's like feeling close to God in a sense as well. It's like I'm alive, thank you.
Where does that level of gratitude come from?
The presence. Like that gratitude is allowing, like,
is it practice presence?
No. Like I think sometimes you have to practice things for a little while before it becomes like a way of living for you.
For sure.
So I feel like guided meditation is great at first. I don't do guided meditation anymore because I can't really resonate with it. I like to just sit in nothing.
That's what I do,
Yeah.
I've done that today on the train, actually. It's funny you said.
Yeah. And then I like to, I sometimes try and be like, all right, do 20 minutes now, just like how you have done. But then there'll be times in my life, and it's not always, but at the moment I'm feeling it, is when I'm just walking around in presence. And it might not be a long period of time. It might just be like just a train journey, or it might be a day, or it might just be like, I don't know, 30 minutes. And for me, I'm allowed to really feel that when I hold space as well. So the yoga, the circle, and because I do this often, it then ripples out into my life. So I'm able to more live from this space. And that's the presence. Yeah.
Well, I believe when I know when I'm meditating more, that's when I sort of bring it naturally through my day too. What I mean, when I slow down with meditation and I'm doing it a few times a day, I end up feel like I'm sort of meditating throughout the day because I practice it a few times, and that enables me to. I do live very fast paced, but I also know, and especially one of the things that I know that helps me is meditation, and I'm not allowing my mind to control me and control my day, rather me be in control of the day itself.
It's a way of life.
Yeah, 100%. But I do definitely go through
So do we all.
big peaks and
So
valleys.
do
Like
we
there's
all.
some days I'll sit there and I've just done a meditation and I'm a monk, right? And then like the next day I'm fighting with a dishwasher.
But,
like,
Jack, but the thing is, I get you, and that's okay.
yeah, of course.
You know, like
yeah,
this is
that's what life is.
This
you
is
know what I
okay.
mean?
Like I'll go through stages of life. I think for women, it's more. I'm not going to speak too much about periods and stuff, but I do think we have like longer cycles. We're very much with the moon, and men work very much with the sun. So I can sit in throughout the month, I can sit in about a week of just feeling really like, you know, and I would not sit on a train and see the beauty of it. Someone's breathing could irritate me. Don't, I am human, don't worry,
I'm glad that
okay?
you said that. Do you know why? Because it's funny. I was meditating on the train this morning. And listen, I teach meditation to my clients, right? Because one of the biggest things that I'm trying to get them to realise and understand is going to confuse into people if they don't understand is that you're not your mind, you're not your thoughts, right? So you're just an observer of your thoughts, and that's as simple as it is. And when I tell people, like, Jack, I ain't got time to meditate. I said, the only reason you haven't got time is because your mind's telling you haven't got time. So that means you need to meditate more. And I'm on the train this morning and I'm doing meditation, and I can hear my mind, you know, it's like people are going to think you're nuts meditating, but for anything I could be asleep. Who knows? So I just look at the thoughts and I just laugh, and I just stay in stillness, and then I stop and I feel at peace. And then a guy got next to me and I could hear my mind go, he started eating, and my mind's going like, better not be anything smelly, by the way. And then I can hear the chomping of the sandwich, do you know what I mean? And then something in me is like, I was just at peace and I was just very present, and now something is trying to knock on my door to say, like, tap this guy on his shoulder and say, can you stop slapping your fucking lips? Obviously I didn't react to it, but
I think
it's funny how you can go through such presence and stillness, but then also be fighting with your
But I think that's okay, and I think it's about not being too hard on yourself.
Definitely.
And also, it just takes me back to, like, have you ever looked? You probably haven't, but have you ever looked at the seasons of nature and really allowed yourself to work with them?
No.
Like, nature is God for me, you know. Like, we can learn so much, and that's why when I go into the forest, it's almost like you let go of that crazy busy society, and it's like, kind of home again. But if you watch the seasons of nature, it's so we have spring at the moment, then we have the summer, then we have the autumn, then we have the winter. Each season serves such a purpose, and we need each season. And nature will so effortlessly surrender to each season with total trust. So, like, at the end of autumn, when the leaves are falling from the trees, it's not trying for dear life to hold them on. It lets them fall because it knows that it has to fall to go back into the soil, to plant the seeds. Then when spring comes, it comes up again. Like, everything holds purpose. And we are the same. We have been, like, think about years ago, we didn't have all the digital stuff. The world wasn't so fast. What about when we was like cavemen? Or what about when we was living in tribes and that is who we are deep within, and we've not lost that. That's our ancestors. We still carry that in us. But we're trying so hard to keep up with today's world, which is extremely fast, which is why I believe we struggle with so much mental health, or so much sadness, so much depression, so much anxiety, is because we're fighting against our natural rhythm within. So, like, if there's a stage of your life where you need to be in the depth of your darkness because it's taking you there, we try so hard, I can't be negative, I can't do that. It's like, you can. If you have trust that you're not going to be in it forever. Like, don't get lost in the darkness, but let yourself breathe into those emotions that are uncomfortable. Because for me, to be a human is to feel the full capacity of being a human, not just the positives. There's going to be, and sorry, I'm on one now.
No, but I'm laughing because the transition that I've gone over the last 3 months that with me, I go through very highs, but also really lows. And what I've tried doing instead of being so high and low is just more staying in the middle. But also, what I would do, I'd get so infatuated when I felt good, I would want to feel that all of the time.
Yeah.
So as soon as I felt down and low, I didn't accept. I was like, why do I feel
Yeah,
like this?
yeah.
What's going on in my life? I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm doing all what I normally do, and I'd make it worse on myself and beat myself up for feeling low, as almost like I shouldn't feel like this
Yeah.
because nothing's wrong in my life. And then I would be so infatuated with the high and resist the low, but what that would make me is more low.
Jack, I am the
So I've
same, by
just
the
had
way.
to try accept.
Yeah, I'm
Accept
saying
the good, accept the bad. Don't get too
Yeah.
excited with this. Don't get too down with this. Just that is what it is, and that is
yeah.
what it is.
And I think like I'm sharing this information, but I also have to. I'm sharing it because I have to remind myself this often.
Yeah, for sure.
But my idea is that life is a journey, and just how nature does it. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and it's about just surrendering to it and enjoying the highs. When you're in the lows, there will be teachings in it. You might not be able to see it at the time, but nothing in life is permanent. And this takes me on to Vipassana, which I have wanted to talk about. So I was telling Jack before we started the podcast, there's a few things in my life that I've done that I think have been extremely pivotal to my self-awareness and the journey that I'm on, I guess. And one of them is Vipassana. So that's a 10-day meditation course. It's been going for a very long time, and you're silent for 10 days. You put your phone in a locker when you arrive, and it's like kind of like a PGL trip, like bunk beds. It's not luxury. And you meditate for 10 hours every day in a hall with one light, no windows, one little light in the middle. Girls sit this side and boys sit this side. And you spend 10 hours in meditation every day. But what I'm trying to say is the emotions, different emotions start to surface.
Sure. Is it 10 hours straight or you do like blocks?
You do blocks. You do blocks, yeah, you do blocks. And so much begins to surface within you. And I think that my interpretation of this is all things that need to be processed that we just haven't allowed ourselves to process because we're so caught up in the busyness of life. So it's actually quite an uncomfortable experience in
Some
ways.
people can't sit with themselves for 10 minutes, let alone.
That's what I mean. It's but the thing is, you're there, and I think you've got the mentality. I've got this mentality too. I will complete this.
Yeah, but that's why I want to go.
I will
Yeah,
complete this. And once you get there, there's like
this is why I brought you on, because I want to talk about it, because I want to do it. I actually want to do it myself.
It's something that I feel like everyone should do at least once in their life, and I don't think everyone will enjoy it. And I still don't know to this day if I enjoyed it, but I definitely benefited from it, and I'm craving going back.
Benefits from it was.
I think what happened for me, and I was not conscious that this was happening at the time, but I was able to process a lot of conditioning, perhaps from the world, from my family in a sense, and I was able to leave there and make decisions that were better for me. And it wasn't like I was conscious that this is why I went there, but this is kind of what happened for me after. And I think it is because of Vipassana. So you do 10 days of silence, don't make eye contact, 10 hours meditation every day, but yes, split up. And when I was the first 3 days, you just focus on the tip of your nose. You just breathe in here, yeah? So the idea is you just start to discipline the mind, and it just all goes to like this one focus point. So it just shuts out all that noise, and you really start to land in this space. It's like it just goes. But the truth is, I was falling asleep. Like my mind was here, there, everywhere, and I could not believe how loud my mind was, because outside of this space, it wasn't that loud. I was like, oh my goodness, like, does it ever shut up? And it's either fantasizing about something or I'm going in a downward spiral about something. It's like the two things were just like, it was wild. It was so loud. And then on the fourth day, you enter Vipassana, which is a technique which is pretty much, in simple terms, just scanning your body from toe to head, from head to toe. You do that all day for the next 7 days. And what you begin... So I'm going to explain how I found Vipassana. But if you spoke to someone else, they'll probably tell you a different story. But my understand... Because you don't speak to anyone.
Yeah.
So you don't know, like...
How you getting on?
How am I meant to be feeling? Like, how is this for you? But
But that's what your mind would do,
that
though,
is
right?
the beauty. You compare.
Yes.
So on the last
Yes.
day, we was allowed to talk just before we went home.
Yeah.
And so for me, I really didn't enjoy it. So when they said you was allowed to talk, I was like, no,
No, I'm good.
fuck that. I don't want to speak to anyone. And then once you do start speaking to everyone, it is nice, of course, to chat. But then you compare your experience, and then you think, was my experience wrong?
Yeah.
And it makes sense why we don't speak now. But yeah, so when you sit with the body, scanning the body head to toe, toe to head, you will start to feel sensations. So whether it's a physical sensation of like, oh my God, my back is killing me. By the way, physically it's so demanding. To sit in meditation for 10 hours, it's like... or you might have a fly might land on your shoulder, and you can feel this fly on your shoulder, and you want to react, you want to move, but you know you're not allowed to move. So you just observe the fly, and you know that nothing lasts forever. Everything's impermanent. So soon the fly leaves you. Then you start scanning the body, and then anxiety pops up, and you're like, oh, here we go. I feel like getting out of this room. Oh, I can't be here. This is too much. I can't sit with that. Breathe through it. It's not yours. Scan the body. All of a sudden, eventually, hopefully, well, it does, the anxiety leaves. Okay, nothing's impermanent. I'm just constantly outside of this space reacting to sensations, when really the sensations are impermanent. Like, we don't have to always be, like, outside of Vipassana, you might be in your daily life and someone might make you feel angry. Boom, you react, you do something silly. Now you don't feel proud of yourself. Now it's like... But just sit with the fact that someone's made you feel angry. Feel it. You don't have to suppress it. You don't have to let it eat you up. Feel it.
I think that's what people struggle to do, though, is feelings. And that's why everyone's so addicted to something external.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm glad I put my phone by me. So I listened to a brilliant podcast recently by a lady called Bronnie Ware, and she worked in palliative care. So she worked with people when they was at the end of their life. So for me... when you're at the end of your life, neither of us have been there, but that must be such a sacred space, like such an acceptance that you are leaving this physical body. I think your mind must completely shift to, you know, there must be like a real different way of looking at life. And she shared 5 regrets of the dying. So you just reminded me of one of them when you said that. But number 1 is really beautiful. So this is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
I want to try and even dive in on these points here, because see exactly what you've just said. See, earlier on you...
Can't wait to tell you the next one, by the way.
No, but yeah, but cool. Sorry to interrupt. But see, when you was talking earlier, and you was like, you do what makes you happy, right? And that's one of the things that I learned this year too, is like, what actually makes me happy and how do I want to live my life? And that's the changes and shift that I've made, and I've also helped my clients make as well. The amount of calls that I have with people that are building successful businesses that are like, I have to do this, I should do this. And when you say have to or should, says who?
I choose to do this.
Yeah, it says who. Who's telling you have to? Who's telling you should? That's someone else's values. That's society as a whole. And I was living by that for a long time. You know, I might have an exceptional day and actually finish work at 8 o'clock, but I would stay up till 11 because that seemed like the successful thing to do. Does it make sense? And then I started to realize, like, no, hold on a minute. I do what I want to do. And that's what I've started to incorporate a lot this year, even when it comes to small things, like even if it's going to pick my daughter up from nursery and stuff. I wasn't doing these things because I thought on a Friday I needed to work till 6 o'clock at night. Whereas now I allow myself to do what I want to do. And by even understanding what I enjoy doing, the writing, whatever it may be, I'm just shaping my life so I can just do more and more of these things. Because I got to a point where I was coaching 7 people on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, get into a Friday and like, I can breathe now, I can live my life. And I was like, I actually am my own boss. Why the fuck am I getting to Friday and like, what the fuck am I doing? So I've shifted it so I'm living and creating the life that I want to live. And this is one thing I help a lot of people that I work with, is like letting them know that it's okay to do the things that you love and enjoy. a long-winded thing to what you're saying, and I want you to go back to
I
it.
want to ask you a question,
but
Jack.
it's just like something that I've really tried doing is living the life that I want to live.
I want to ask you a question.
Of course.
If you may, like, you might not want to close your eyes, but I want you to kind of like ask your heart this question, not your mind. So I think you and me and a lot of society spend a lot of time like in our heads and not really allowing this space to breathe, to feel, to express itself. But this is your forever home. This is what I believe is beyond the non-physical as well. This is true. Like, why do we spend this lifetime living so up here when we've got this too? Well, let's find the balance, or at least for me, I would like to give this more space than this. But yeah, I want you to see if you can just ask your heart this question. So you might not even be able to, because it just might not take you there today, but ask your heart, what is true to you? Like, not what is true to your head, but like just seeing if you can just speak to your heart, just saying like, heart, what is true to you?
Analytically, I'm going to break this down. When you say what is true to you, is in like...
Yeah, where does it take you?
Where does it take me?
Like,
just asking that
don't
question.
let the logical mind try and make sense of it. This is the thing, we're always trying to make sense of it. Like how it just said, like, I want to live a life that's true to me. What's a life that's true?
The life that's true to
me.
Is, to be fair, I don't know when I'm being true to myself, is living in flow. And
living
what I mean
flow.
by living in flow, doing the things that I want to do and not living in lack or fear that I can't do them things because success may not come from it. What I mean by that is waking up on a Monday. I'll give this is a perfect example. Yesterday morning, I was like, just write my yesterday morning, just write your blog. This is what I said. I'm just at the morning doing a blog. That don't seem like work. Yeah, this is my mind. That don't seem like work. You should be doing X, Y, Z. Fit the blog in. You know, on your free time. I don't know. Fit the blog in a different time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why does my work have to feel like work? Maybe the blog is my work still. Yeah. Maybe I write that blog. From that blog, I post it. No expectations. Someone sees that. They come to me. They want to work with me because they see exactly the work that I've done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I always feel like work has to feel like work. And what I've come to the realization of, it doesn't. Like, and my coach explained this to me perfectly. He's like, do you feel like the surfer on the waves, say a professional surfer, he feels like that's his work, or does he love just going to do the waves? And I'm like, yeah, he loves to go do the waves. Like, I love teaching and speaking, and when I'm teaching people, when I'm speaking, I don't feel like it's work, and I get paid to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find all of the things that I love and enjoy to do without it essentially feeling like work.
Jack, I'm literally itching to read the next one to you.
Because
you're gonna crack up. So the first one was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Number 2, so this is the second biggest regret of the dying. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Wish I hadn't worked so hard. Number 3, and this is why I started telling you about this, is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings.
That's difficult for many. I'm actually quite good at that, to be honest. I never used to be, but I think therapy is a big thing for that helps. I think sharing it with other people can be hard, even if it's in a relationship or a partner. But I think therapy for me has been a big fundamental thing of sharing.
For me, it's my women's circles. They are, I guess, in a way, they are therapy, but in community. So it's women that really don't know each other. So all individual women coming into a circle space, and I might ask a question like, it'll take a little while, so we'll pause for ages, we'll slow down. I might read a little bit of poetry that really gets the heart coming forward. And then I will flow us into the heart. So we kind of start letting go of the head. And then I'll ask a question like, what's a life that's true to your heart? Or how is your heart today? Like something the way you can go a bit deeper than that surface level of, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right.
Everything's good.
I'm all right. And then, but what you notice when you do the therapy in community, like the women's circles, is that if I was to say, I speak from the present moment, so we try not to come from a script. My heart is feeling really heavy at the moment, and it doesn't have to make sense. It's not like, oh, my mum shouted at me this morning, or my boyfriend's really pissed me off. It's just like, you don't have to make logical sense of it. It's okay. You can just be so abstract in this space. You can just speak without it needing to make sense. So you might say, my heart's heavy. Or I remember when someone first asked me in space about my heart, and I was like, what? And I was like, my heart. And I got so sad because I said, I can't feel it. I said, it feels like it's down there and back there. And that's kind of where that prompt took me. It wasn't like, oh, my heart's okay. It's like, I literally couldn't feel my heart. And then when we start to just express so truthfully, it gives permission for the next woman or the person next to you to do the same. And then all of a sudden, the circle is alive and everyone is just sharing how they feel. And it reminds us that we're not meant to do this alone, that we need each other, and that out there we all act like everything's okay, but really things are not, and it's normal, and we can hold each other through it, and it just gives you a bit more hope and a bit more unity as well.
I think it's hard for men to short talk and share though.
Okay, but I have done a few, I do agree, but personally speaking, I hold space mainly for women, but I've done it for men, and I wouldn't say I enjoy it more, but I witness that they get more from it.
Listen, I do my group. Like I've just done a group course, and I get 10 men on the thing. And it's not the thing is with feelings with me. I don't always attach it to feelings. I guess you can call them feelings or not. I don't think all feelings are relevant, and that's the truth. And what I mean by that is like allowing your feelings to take control over you, because it's just a feeling comes from a thought. And what I mean by that, there's days that I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But I believe that I've got to show up and do what needs to be done anyway. So I don't actually give the feeling too much attention. Does that make sense? But I also think there's a great space for expressing your feelings, but also mostly not just feelings. Like I think it's talking to someone about how you think. Because as I said, they said I have OCD. I get a lot of negative, dark, impulsive, intrusive thoughts. And I used to think, you are fucking nuts. Like, you are nuts. Like, you're getting to the end of a road and talking about driving over that or jumping from.
But you're not alone
train.
on that feeling.
Does that make sense?
But so many people
I'm
get
like,
that.
you are fucking crazy, right? And then as soon as I talk to someone, I'm just like, look, I think like this, yeah. And I'm like, am I fucking nuts? They're like, no, it's okay. It's a sign of this, and it's like, oh, cool. Yeah. That's all you need sometimes, someone to, and that's what I do a lot through my coaching. It's not therapy, it is coaching, but people are able to express feelings or the way that they're thinking, and I help them think differently. And by doing so, or understand that the way that they think, the pressure comes off because they realise, oh, I'm not actually fucking. And
I think there's two ways to look at this. Like, I think what you're saying is correct in the way that you're doing it. Like, you can't just sit in your feelings all day and be like crumbling. Like, we have to live life, and there's things that we have to do each day. Let's be realistic, okay? I'm not going to be too airy-fairy. So you have to, I get that, what you're saying, you have to get up and you have to do it. But then I also do think, if you look at the world, Jack, and particularly men are lost. Like especially young boys, and they're hanging around their friends and the society, the conditioning of society. It's like they have to be a certain way and they're not allowed to feel. Interesting, actually. I heard this fact, whether it's true or not, I'm not sure, but they say that women, if there's a couple, a man and a woman, and when they get older, if the woman was to die first, the man would die shortly after. Whereas if the man was to die first, the woman would live longer. And that is because
I believe that
she has the man, his wife or his intimate other in a woman is his everything. So he tells her everything. It's where he expresses his emotions. Whereas a woman, she has that probably with her children. She has that with her friends, probably with her colleagues. So she's expressing her emotions and being vulnerable in a variety of communities, and this gives her longevity. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, you can push on, and I do think you have to do that. There has to be a balance. Like I was saying at the beginning, there has to be a balance. But push on all week. And then on Sunday, take yourself somewhere to a community or journal or therapy or sit in meditation or go to the forest and let yourself feel what you've been needing to feel all fucking week.
I think
give it time.
And I think that,
sorry for swearing.
No, swear as much as you want. I think it's like I don't even think it's a level of awareness. There needs to be some sort of level of awareness first, though. Does that make sense? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What the hell happened there? I feel like there needs to be some sort of, that's all right, we'll keep that in. It's lucky you didn't die. Right, camera. We'll keep that in. I feel like there needs to be some level of awareness to thinking and feeling. Does that make sense? Like, I used to be so unaware of the way that I actually thought and
Yeah.
does it, I
Yes,
remember
I get
when
you,
I
I
first
get you.
started to become a bit aware, I was like, oh, why am I thinking like this? Why do I feel like this? But I think that only become because I educated myself. I started to read books and my level of awareness changed. When I
Yes.
started reading things like The Secret and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I'm probably with you.
Whereas before it was just I was on automatic. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know that you could be an observer of your thoughts. I didn't know that you could observe a feeling. It was just like you are your feelings, you are your thoughts, and you're just going through life automatically.
The
Does that
truth
make
is,
sense?
yeah, total sense. And the truth is, I'm talking from a space of where I'm at
Yeah,
now.
and that's the same
And
thing
I've
for
been
me.
living and breathing this for a long time. So when I go back to the beginning of my journey,
There you go. How
okay,
exactly?
this
That's
is
what I'm
this
saying. So
this
that's
is
like completely different.
this is
Right?
different because you can
Yeah.
get lost in your emotions.
Well, 100%. Well,
You
you're
can-
lost in your emotions and your thoughts because you believe that you are your
Yeah.
thoughts and you are your emotions.
And just like what you said, there was things that helped me, and it was self-help books and
Yeah,
and
there you go.
podcasts.
Let's dive
They
into
were
that.
they were
What are some of the things that helped you gain sort of some sort of self-awareness?
at the very beginning of the journey. Okay. So actually, so in 2020, this kind of Shanticinta birthed from the pandemic. So I know some people had a really terrible time, but it was the best time for me. It was like when everything just kind of, it's kind of like when I rebirthed myself in a sense. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts and self-help books, but there was one book that I had been wanting to do for a long time, but I never could do it because life was too busy. And that was The Magic. Have you ever done it?
The Magic. What, The Secret?
Yeah, the follow
I
on.
think I started. I don't know if I finished The Magic. I've done
Yeah.
the normal one
So
and I've done the second one.
So The Secret is just like you just read.
I've done
book.
The Secret and The Power. They're
Yeah,
the two I done. I didn't.
But
do The
you just
Magic.
read them. The magic is you can't just read through it because every chapter you read at the end, there's a challenge that you have to do.
Okay.
And if you miss the challenge, you have to go 3 days back. And it's a 28-day challenge.
Yeah.
And because of lockdown, I was like, perfect time to really like give this a go. And a lot of it is gratitude, but it's just I took 28 days to really implement these different challenges. And I had no real goal with where I was going with this. But so much, when I reflect back, so much actually changed after this. I come out of a really long-term relationship. I don't think it was solely because of this book, but I probably did play a part. I think it's also because the world was slowing down, which meant I was slowing down, which meant I realised where I was out of balance. So I started making changes in my life. So I guess if I was saying to people at the beginning of their journey, like self-help books are amazing. There's so many out there now as well, and podcasts, but also don't overwhelm yourself because of the internet, so many people can have a platform now. And I know people are trying to help, but you are you, and the answers need to come within you. So you can listen to yourself and you can educate, but you don't have to take everything as gospel.
Yeah,
like
I
Jack,
believe
you
I've
might
done that at the beginning.
you might share stuff, and someone can listen to our conversation right now, and they can take bits of it, and some things they're like, no, that doesn't resonate with me, and that's okay, because for me the most important thing is making a relationship with yourself, tuning into yourself enough that you take the parts that resonate and you let go of the ones that don't. And then I believe once you start that path of like getting to know who you are, whether it's through meditation or slowing down or going for walks, podcasts, self-help books, then the path kind of gets laid for you. I feel like you put out a message to life or God, whoever it is, saying like, I'm ready now. I'm making a bit of action. Like, meet me halfway.
Yeah,
Meet
I
me
believe at the
halfway.
beginning as well, it's just being open-minded, because even
Open
me,
into it.
open-minded to new learnings, new
Yeah.
ideas. Because even me, when I picked up my first book, well, this is how much I was out of control of my own mind. My ego was like, you can't read. You've never read a book in your life. Why are you going to start at 26? You can't read. Excuse. I start to read because I've told myself I can't read. Their resistance to read is like, oh, I actually can't read. I got through it. Then it started talking about meditation, this, that. And I was like, this is hippie stuff. This is not for me. I'm not doing this. But I was open-minded. I give it a go. Then my level of awareness started to change about new things, new ideas, accepting these ideas, feeling better about myself while I was doing these things. And that's when I went on a spiral to start implementing. But I took things for gospel. This book said, if you don't get up at 5 o'clock, you're not successful. This book said, if you don't do this, you're
But
not
you
a
had
man.
to learn as well.
Yeah,
Like, I feel
of
like
course.
everyone has to have their journey.
If you don't do this, and I end up doing like, everything from every book, and my morning routine was like
Yeah.
20 things long.
I can imagine that for
I was
you.
doing everything. It helped me.
Yeah.
But then obviously as time goes on, I picked apart what works for me, what don't work for me, and made my own groove of it.
I think
you know what
also
I mean?
that just begin.
Yeah. Just
Like,
begin,
don't
100%,
overwhelm
yeah.
yourself with a long-term goal. I know you might
Or
not
doing too many things.
do
at
too
once
many
too.
things.
Yeah.
You like just begin.
Yeah.
Just begin. Like, sometimes people have to get really low and in a really dark place to want change, but I don't think it has to be that. But I remember, it was such a pivotal moment for me. 2020, lockdown was happening, so the world was slowing down. So I was really like getting to know who I was and coming home to myself. I come out of a relationship. I couldn't go out and just get drunk and like push those feelings into other parts of my life. So I had to sit with a lot. And there were so many uncomfortable things happening for me, and I just wanted to run away. And I remember at the end of that year in December, I think it was the 21st of December, which is the winter solstice, I started seeing people post things on Instagram, like meditations and stuff. And I see some girl put a link to YouTube about meditation. And I went in my room and I lit a candle, and I have a mirror in front of me because it's like my wardrobe. And I'd done the meditation. I can't even remember what the meditation was, if I'm honest. But I was feeling low, and I just remember looking myself in the mirror and being like, things have got to change. Like, come on, Star. Like, things. And I was crying, and it was a pivotal moment for me. I was like, I want something different. Like, things have to change. And I also feel like putting that out there, you're opening yourself up to things. And then things will start landing on your path, whether you follow someone and they share a meditation, or you meet someone and they introduce you to a yoga teacher, or I don't know what your path will be, and I don't want to tell people what their path will be, but I think just make a choice that I want to change now, or I want to truly start living, voice it and just begin and let it just, because I had no idea from that moment that Shanticinta would birth, and that almost 5 years later I'd be here having a podcast with you, Jack. I had no intentions to do that, but I just wanted change, and I just trusted my journey, and I told the world, I'm ready now, I'm open. And I feel like life said, I got you, baby. I got you.
Though, I think once you actually make a committed decision to change, take some form of
action,
then you're guided in the right direction.
Action,
and you just got
a
to
little
notice
bit.
the signs. But then also, I believe it's like, don't put too much pressure on your change.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, when you start to change, that's why people end up doing all of the different habits, and they start comparing themselves to someone up here that's been doing it for 5 years. They get discouraged and they go back a little bit. So it's just like,
comparison is the theft of joy.
knowing it's just like a step-by-step process. Just take your time with it.
Yeah.
And one day you'll get there if you don't stop, pushing forward. Going back to what you said about the relationship, either with yourself, or you start building a better relationship with yourself. How do you feel like people can build a better relationship with themselves? Because I do believe, and I do teach this with my clients, it's like the best relationship and the biggest relationship that you should be focusing on every single day is with yourself.
With the self.
100%.
So there's going to be so many different people sharing different techniques. Again, it can make you feel overwhelming, but I'll just speak from me, because obviously you said like journaling, there's all of this kind of stuff, but for me to make a relationship with myself, said it at the beginning, but it's slowing down to meet myself. So you can meditate, it can be that, but sometimes I've only recently started using that word again, because I feel like for a lot of people that's really disconnecting and just something that maybe is a bit woo-woo, and they're like, I don't meditate, I don't want to do that. So I like the word pause, like taking some time to pause. So just taking like 5 minutes, start off with 5 minutes in the morning, maybe have your coffee. You don't have to silence the thoughts. You don't have to sit still, but come away from your phone, drink your coffee if you need to, but just be there with the coffee where you are, and just let all that needs to be in your mind be there. Start off with that, and then like next week do 10 minutes of just pausing in the morning before the world wakes up, or before your day has to get going. I think you need to slow down in order to start to get to know who you truly are.
I think slowing down and recognizing yourself. I don't think a lot of people recognize themselves enough, and that's one of the things that I go in.
How do you
in and out
recognize
of.
yourself?
One thing that I do, I've written a massive list of everything that I've overcome and achieved in my life, and gone over it, and basically pat myself on the back for the whole.
Wow.
thing. And every time I do something big or something that I didn't want to do, or something that I've overcome, I put it on the list and recognize myself. Every morning, I've just made a journal, but it's what are 3 things you're proud of. And then every evening, what are 3 wins you got today? And then well done. And then pat myself on the back.
Do you ever look yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself?
No, I talk to myself all day, but I don't look in the mirror. And sometimes I might look in the mirror, but on an odd occasion.
It's okay. So this, again, might not resonate with everyone. And I don't do it all the time, but I'll know when I need to do it.
I say you're fucking mad.
I do. No, I'll look in the mirror. I've done it this morning.
I'll do it before like a talk or something. Yeah, like if
but mine's
not like normal.
Mine's kind of like in more of a probably in a not
more
geeing myself
way.
up.
Yeah,
Mine,
yours is
like, come on, we got this.
Mine's like fucking.
No, mine's like in the morning. Sometimes I'll just catch myself in the mirror, then I'll look in the mirror and be like, oh, hey. Yeah. Honestly, I'm like, oh, I love you, Star. Like, I look in my eyes, and I could sometimes get sad, and I do it. I'm like, I see you. Don't worry. I love you. I got you. I've got
meditation. I can do it in a different way. Like I look back. I done it this morning. I done it on the way here on the train. I just closed my eyes and I was like thinking about where I was, where I am now, what I'm doing. Is like, look how far you've come. Proud of you. When I was doing the run, when I was doing 100 miles, I kept saying to myself, I am so fucking proud of you.
Do you like yourself?
Because 100%. Yeah, I never used to, but that's the reason I used to do so many disruptive things. But now I do.
Do you tell yourself I love you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not so much I love you, more so I'm proud of you. That's something that I try to repeat.
I want to share something that I have that might help people as well. So it started off from The Secret, actually, years ago. I think I got this when I was 15. It was a gratitude stone. Is it it might be the magic that tells you to do that. So I tried to do it when I was 15, couldn't do it. But yeah, one of the practices, you get a gratitude stone, pick it up from the forest or the street, wherever you can. And then I put it under my bed, and every night I go through the day and say what I'm grateful for before I go to sleep. So it started off as that, but now it's just like this stone of love. And I just hold the stone and I'm like, it's just love that I feel. So I tell myself I love myself. I like all the things that I've loved in the day. I love my life. I love my family. And it just lifts the vibration a little bit before you go to bed. So it's quite a nice practice you can do. I just leave it under my pillow. And
I think, and I'll tell you what, I've taught these lessons this week as well. A lot of people I speak to, Jack, I'm unconfident. I've got self-esteem issues. I don't, my belief's very low, right? And then I'm like, do you recognize yourself? They're like, no. I achieve something, I move on. I achieve something,
wow.
I achieve something, I move on. And it's all because they don't recognize themselves, yeah? They don't say what wins they've got. They don't say what they're proud of. They don't pat themselves on the back because they believe that that's being egotistic. They believe that if they recognize themselves and say that I've done well, one, they're going to stop wanting to achieve more, which I think is complete bollocks, because they think by being dissatisfied, they're going to achieve something more. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I used to. It was a wrong mindset. The second thing was, if they recognize themselves, they believe that that's going to build an ego, or they build confidence that comes from an egotistic place. So one thing that we do is the same thing. Write down your wins, write down your gratitude for yourself, write down what you're proud of, and all of a sudden, their self-esteem improves. They feel more confident. They feel more belief in themselves, all just because they don't recognize themselves. Because if you're not recognizing yourself, for example, if I just achieved that 100-mile whatever and I move straight on to the next thing, if someone says to me, fucking hell, you're a runner, if I didn't recognize myself, I'd be like, yeah, not really. I've not run 200 miles. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's what I used to do in the past.
Yeah.
But by recognizing yourself, it doesn't mean that you're egotistic for doing it. It just means that you're giving yourself that recognition, and that's going to build your confidence. Because then it basically is, and like what that win list is for me, it just says that is who the fuck you are.
Yeah. No,
but from a good intention. Does that make sense? Like you can talk to someone and tell them how successful you are from a place of, I want to tell this person because I want to show off.
Yeah.
Or you can tell that person with a good intention, I want to do it because I want to inspire. And I think that's the difference.
It makes sense.
That people mix up on. 2 more things. One, I want to hear the last 2.
We
only done 3, yeah? We only done 3. We went off. I want to hear the last 2.
So 4, 5 regrets of the dying. Number 4 is I wish I stayed in touch with my friends.
Okay.
And number 5 is I wish that I had let myself be happier.
That's a good one.
Which is really nice.
Let myself be happier.
Which is
I resonate
it's a choice.
with that. Yeah.
Happiness is a choice. Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they? They're like really get you thinking.
You asked me that question, what makes me most happiest? Did you ask me that
I
earlier?
asked you what's a life that's true to you, to
Okay.
your heart.
And did you ask me about what makes me happy or
I
not?
think
So we
that's
was
what makes
talking about
what
something
makes you
like that.
joy. Yeah.
Yeah, what makes you most joyful or happy?
I think is what we've been speaking about today. Those moments when I feel truly alive, which isn't all the time, but like on the train today, where I could bring myself to tears out of the beauty that I'm seeing. So, for me, what makes me feel happy is when I feel truly alive and connected to the world.
And you've been on a journey yourself, right? You've obviously gone through your own peaks and valleys of everything. If you was to look back at yourself when you first started this journey, what would that advice be to that younger self?
I think if I could, if I could hold that star, I would love to hold her and give her a little kiss on the head and let her know that it is all going to be okay. Just have faith in every part of it. It's like you are stronger than you think.
I've done that, by the way. I've done that in my mind. I went back to my old self, the one that used to sit up in the
Me
kitchen for
too.
days. I've cuddled that person. I said, don't worry, it all works
And that's
out.
what they need, Jack. Love. It's
Love
funny.
and
They don't need
forgiveness,
like
right?
advice. Was like, it's like they just need a bit of love. That's.
It's funny
I
you
want to
say
hug
that.
myself and just say, I love you, darling. Like you got this.
Yeah, and I think it's hard for men because we all want to, I think everyone does seek love or significance, or they want to feel proud of themselves. Does that make sense? That's why we do all of these things.
Can I tell you my favourite ever quote?
Yeah, for sure.
It's people don't need help. People need love. And I have witnessed all the different retreats that I've been on. I've witnessed time and time again. We don't need someone to tell us how to heal or how to change or how to get better. We need to give them such love that they know what to do within. And I can't even express in words how I've witnessed this quote come to life and the magic of it. When we give people such unconditional love, they will naturally begin to heal. We don't need to tell them to journal or to read. They need love.
And I tell you what else I think people need, which I believe that I've give through my coaching, is belief
Yeah.
in themselves. That's one of the things
That is
I've come
self-love,
through.
though, isn't it?
Self-love.
It is.
It ties
It's
with love.
self-love.
It's
It is.
belief. And that's one thing to say, Jack, you enabled me to believe in myself. By you believing in me, it meant that I was able to, when my client says to me, Jack, I want to, do a half marathon, but I'm fucking doubting myself. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you've
yeah.
got this. You know what I mean? That's all someone needs. That person to give them some belief and push them in the right direction. Star, I think it's been great, everything that we spoke about. I can actually speak for hours.
Yeah.
Last question, though. What does becoming the best you mean to you?
It's funny. I feel like I'm answering these questions with what we've already spoke about today. But becoming the best me is to live a life that's true to me and to not feel the pressure from society. So, yeah, to keep tuning in to who I am deep within here and to live from that space, to live from my heart space and to honour that as much as possible.
And diving in on that, you obviously are very in tune with yourself, like I'm in tune with myself. I know exactly, I would say, I know the things that bring me joy, and I really know how to live a life that is true to me now and that makes me feel good, even if I go through peaks and valleys. For someone that doesn't know what brings them joy yet, how to live a life true to them, what would advice be to that person to figure out what that is? Because a lot of people are living a life that they're unhappy with, or a life that someone else wants them to live. How would they understand what that life is for them?
How they understand what a life is, what to be happy.
To be life that is true to them. Does that make sense? Like, you've worked on yourself for so long. You know the things that you love, the things that you enjoy, the things that bring good energy into your life. I realise, I'm aware that when I'm writing, energy comes to me. Shit.
But people don't know what makes them happy.
Even more writing every day. I know when me and Morgan travel and film, that makes me happy. Yeah. And I can live. If I do more of these things, it feels like I'm not working. But a lot of people waking up every day, going to a job that they don't like, doing things that they don't like, in friendships they don't like, relationships they don't like. How do you feel like someone can connect more to themselves to know that I can live that true life? How do they create that true life?
I feel like I'm just going to repeat myself again, but I do feel like when you slow down and if you take time to just pause each day, you get to make a stronger relationship with yourself, which then you get to make choices that are right by you, and you'll feel stronger in making that choice. So you might realize that you need to leave a job, but when it's so noisy, you can't really hear that. But when you slow down, you're deep within you, your little girl or your heart or God, whoever it is like, I want you to leave this job. It's not, or I want you to leave this relationship. It's not serving you anymore. Like, and then when you make action on that, I feel like life will start to hold your hand and keep meeting you in places. I think you've got to slow down, make that relationship yourself, and listen to that. And
Is that intuition?
is that intuition? No.
Okay.
That's the magic inside of you. That's your heart. That's your soul. That's who you are beyond the physical.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.